Hello Internet, welcome to my Wednesday show. Let's get right into some of the news stuff that I thought was interesting from the last couple of days. Obviously one of the biggest stories going on right now is the Boston Marathon bombings. I'm not going to talk about that today though, because I'm pretty sure that everyone is checked out on exactly what happened. I am going to talk about a few side stories though that are relating to the marathon bombings. The first of which is a story of two Middle Eastern men being kicked off an American Airlines flight immediately after the first round of bombings occurred. The two men were not sitting together, but were apparently speaking Arabic and were on a flight leaving from Boston. The plane then returned to the gate and both passengers were asked to leave the plane. I understand that the people were nervous and afraid after what had just happened in front of their eyes in Boston, but you can't just assume that every Middle Eastern person is a terrorist. When did it become illegal to have brown skin and get on an airplane? The other thing that occurred alongside the marathon bombings was Fox made the decision to pull an episode of Family Guy from its website as well as from Hulu+. The episode had aired 3 weeks earlier and had a scene where Peter Griffin was shown winning the Boston Marathon by running other runners over with his car. In the same episode, there was also a scene where Peter made friends with a terrorist and accidentally detonated bombs by calling the terrorist's cell phone. Sadly, conspiracy theorists have gone crazy over this episode, saying that the creators of Family Guy somehow knew that the Boston bombing was going to occur. There are also some people who doctored footage of the episode to make it look like Peter was actually blowing up the Boston Marathon. Seth MacFarlane released a tweet furious that people had taken it upon themselves to doctor his episode in this way. Either way, my thoughts go out to the people affected by the Boston Marathon bombings, and I hope the people responsible are brought to swift justice. As often as Justin Bieber is in the news, there's one story I saw recently that I found interesting. As Justin was traveling through Europe for part of his tour, he made a stop at the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam. This would have been a routine museum visit, but this is Justin Bieber we're talking about. The Anne Frank house posted on its Facebook wall that Justin had written in their guest book. Justin wrote essentially that he thought that Anne Frank sounded like a great girl, and if she had been alive today, that she would have been a fan of his music. People were outraged when they read this on the Facebook page. Granted, everything that Justin Bieber does gets blasted all over the internet, whether it's good or bad, and truthfully, I think that people need to give this 19-year-old kid a little bit of a break. Was Justin Bieber's comment a little lighthearted for the solemnity of the Anne Frank house? Yeah, it probably was. But, like everyone keeps saying, he's a 19-year-old superstar. As much as I hate sticking up for Justin Bieber, Internet, you need to let 19-year-olds be 19-year-olds. Exciting news if you're a pot-smoking hippie in the state of Nevada. Welcome to the first ever Pot College, a school that teaches people how to grow and sell medical marijuana. Started by the Cannabis Career Institute, this college teaches you everything you need to know about growing, selling, and packaging medical marijuana. The Cannabis Career Institute already runs seminars all over the United States teaching people how to run successful medical marijuana operations. If you're interested in attending, have fun getting your parents to write that tuition check. I wanted to talk a little bit about Yelp.com. For those of you that don't know, Yelp.com is an online service that allows people to read reviews and leave reviews for businesses in their area. It's a great place to go if you want to find a restaurant, a place to get your car worked on, or maybe just an interesting spot in your hometown. Every once in a while, I see stories on the internet criticizing Yelp for one reason or another. Some of these stories even go so far as to accuse Yelp of extortion, and I want to explain a little bit about why this controversy arises. Yelp uses a 5-star rating system that is integral to its search function on its website. The Harvard Business School released a study saying that each star that a business is given on Yelp equates to a 5 to 9% increase in revenue. UC Berkeley also released a study stating that a half-star difference per restaurant equates to a 19% increase in how likely that restaurant is to fill all of its reservations. When you look at these figures, it's not surprising that there's controversy associated with Yelp, where one bad review can cause such a significant drop in your business's revenue just by losing a single star off your rating. Yelp claims they have safeguards in place to prevent their system from being manipulated. Either way, this puts a lot of power in the consumer's hands. Maybe you'll think twice before dropping a 1-star bomb on some business in your local town. My last story of the day comes out of New Zealand, as New Zealand becomes the 13th nation in the world to legalize gay marriage. The decision did not come without controversy. The marriage equality bill, which passed yesterday, passed with a 77 to 44 majority. However, 75,000 people signed a petition against the bill. With New Zealand joining the ranks of countries that have legalized gay marriage, it poses the question as to whether the United States will follow suit. Interestingly enough, in the United States, gay marriage wasn't even illegal until 1996, with the creation of DOMA, the Defense Against Marriage Act. Prior to 1996, the federal government would have recognized any marriage that a state considered valid. While there are a handful of states that recognize gay marriage, DOMA effectively prevents them from getting access to the 1,138 rights and privileges associated with having a federally recognized marriage. Personally, I don't have a problem with same-sex marriages, provided that the government doesn't tell churches that they have to let people get married. What I have a problem with is same-sex couples not being able to have access to the 1,138 federal laws and privileges. This includes things like joint health care, becoming a beneficiary on a social security account, and a handful of other legal things that I don't really understand. I don't like the idea of United States citizens being treated like less than a full citizen. Without having access to all their federal rights and privileges, that's essentially what we're doing to gay couples in the United States. I know this is a really controversial issue, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. So use the comments section down below and let me know how you feel on this recent development in New Zealand. That's the end of my Wednesday show. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed watching the video, like it, share it, and I will see you guys on Saturday.